What is happening, everybody? I'm here with the one, the only, Josh Ambrose. Um, probably one. Gosh, Josh, I've known you here in the neighborhood for at least 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah. Yep. I
Feel like
moved
it's
in
it's been that long, and
around May of 2019.
yeah, yeah, that tracks. And you still want to talk to me, so that's a good sign for one of us at least. Cool. Well, Josh, I don't know if I can even remember this or if I know this, but where'd you grow up or where'd you move from originally?
Yeah, I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina, like 2.5 hours north of here. I left there at 18, joined the military, lived all over the world for the next 24 years. Um, Retired from the Marine Corps here out of Jacksonville. Knew I was going to want to stay here, so we just planted roots here after retirement.
Awesome. Where'd you I'm sorry, did I miss that? Where'd you come from directly? Or you wound up with the Marines here and just stayed?
Yeah. Yep. I was on Blount Island, just over in James Point Bridge.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty close. And what made you decide to stay here and not go back up to your hometown?
Um, you know, Once you've lived all over the world and lived all over the US, you don't feel like you have a calling to like go live back at home, I would say. And so the last 24 years I had lived everywhere, and not everywhere, but I've been in a lot of places. And so I didn't necessarily have a calling to want to go back home. My brother was already living down here, and it was a much larger city than what I grew up in, more job opportunities. My wife is from a major city. She's from Long Island, New York City area. So, um, but she didn't really want to stay in New York. So I thought this was a happy medium. We both agreed on it. And we knew that if I moved down here and with our young kids or having kids, and my brother was already down here with having kids, that my parents would follow, and they did. So they moved down here like 6 months after. So now pretty much we all live down here.
And you've got a few kids, right?
Got a few.
Yeah, you up to 12 yet?
Nope, nope. Almost 12 animals at one point, but thank goodness we're down to
Oh,
that.
yeah, but there you go. Oh man, that's amazing. So you probably, I mean, I know you were in Blount Island, and then did you look at any other areas in Florida as possibilities?
Not necessarily in Florida, because I started a franchise a few months before I retired, so I knew I was going to stay here. But I did look at all different parts of the greater Jacksonville area. And at first, I was looking at like the Northwest area because in my mind, when we first moved down here, who wants to drive far? Nobody really wants to drive far to work. So Blount Island's all the way up in the northwest section of Jacksonville. So, but I'm very glad that I just spoke to a few people and did a little bit of research about the school systems and stuff like that, and just knew and just found out and discovered that St. Johns County particularly was booming. It was growing. A-rated schools all around. I started to, you know, hear a lot of great things about it, and so for me, it was just okay. Well, let's find something in that area, and that's how we ended up in the neighborhood.
Awesome. So you came down to St. John's, and then I know, I mean, spoiler alert, you're in Beacon Lake,
Yeah,
uh, like all the best people are.
on home
Um,
number two in Beacon
but
Lake. On top of that,
sorry?
I'm in home number
Yeah, that's
two
right.
on
It's
Beacon
house
Lake,
number 2.
courtesy of you as well.
So did you look at other neighborhoods, and did you look at like Nocatee and Beach Walk and other neighborhoods nearby?
Yeah, I looked at Nocatee when we were first moving down. I was looking at Durban. This was 6 years ago, so I was looking at Shearwater. Silverleaf was not around back then. Nocatee still had a significant amount of build out left on the south side part of Nocatee and a little bit in 20 Mile.
Mm,
So I looked in all those areas, and I knew racetrack. Here's what here's kind of my thought process is that 210 was starting to become the new racetrack road, right? And so because they parallel each other, racetrack road is north, and so as you're moving further away from the city, racetrack road goes very far across the county and was become the place where everyone's building off of. Well, now 210 was becoming that road and is that road now where everything's being built off of. So I kind of knew I wanted to be in like a new community because who doesn't want a new home? Yeah, new home usually means young kids, newer families sometimes. So there are, as you can tell, there are a lot of kids in our neighborhood, which is why there's a K through 8 school literally in our neighborhood now. And so it was all those things as to why I chose to hone it down to Beacon Lake.
Excellent. And I appreciate the like being between US 1 and 95
95.
as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot of construction over one side. We kind of go the other way.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been trapped a little bit lately with Phillips Highway getting a little
Right.
construction and Beach Walk. But
Yeah, we've been
when
dealing
you
with that
think
for a while,
this
but
is
once
on
it's
the
all done,
record,
I mean, I would say there's 2 downsides to living in a new community with that construction, but also you don't have as many restaurants to quickly go to, but that those are all problems that are, like, temporary that are already being solved.
right? Exactly. So on the record, when's 210 going to be done in front of Beach Walk? Just
Okay.
kidding.
Based on how long I saw it took for the south part of 210 to be done, and it was before they opened up both lanes, it's August now. I'm gonna go with January, New Year's.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it before the next school semester starts up. Would be great.
Yes.
Um, cool. So you've got to enjoy seeing a lot of these new businesses come up along 210 and in the area. What do you think about all these? We kind of get people that are excited about it and people that are like,
Yeah.
man, I kind of miss having all the trees and things. Where do you fit into that?
I listen to the Karens and Kevins on the Facebook or I read their posts and I'm like, I ask myself, well, why did you move in here? Like this, you can't, like those things exist for a reason, for convenience for the people that live in there. Like somebody complained about there being a new oil change place. Well, if there wasn't a need, then they wouldn't go in business. And I mean, there are needs for things there that we shouldn't have to go all the way to Racetrack Road or down US 1 or something like that. So I have 0 problem with it, and I'm not trying to bash them, but I know there are parts of the county where if you're looking to be rural and you're looking to see trees, you could get that. This has never been 10 has never been and never will be like a rural area. And like, well, let me take that back. It used to be hunting club, hunting land.
Right.
Ever since it's been developed, and it's just going to continue to get more and more developed. Like south of us, between us and International Golf Parkway, it's just going to continue to get more and more developed, which is good for people that are in the home service industry.
Mm, yeah, that's a great point. So you've lived in two different homes, as you mentioned, in Beacon Lake, and you built them both, I believe. So, tell me a little bit about the new construction process. What was something great about it, and what was something that could have been done better?
Well, I built them, but I didn't. The one in Hutchinson was a spec home that Dream Finders was selling, so it was already built. The one that we took over in the landing was being built, but I took over the contract from somebody else. Now,
Okay.
what I will tell you is, and Toll Brothers does not pay me to do this. So I had a Dream Finders home and now a Toll Brothers home. I can tell you, I have been super impressed with the, um, I will say, honor and integrity of Toll Brothers and their willingness to make things right. Let me give you an example. I had my entire driveway in Lanai pavers replaced because they were saying they couldn't come out. 2.5 years
Mm,
after living in the home, I had the entire stairway sanded back down and restained because they had to repair a step and they couldn't match the stain. So instead of having one mismatched step, they sent a team in for a week. This is 2.5 years after living in the home. Usually it's only 1 year warranty. Dream Finders, nothing against them. They all have their own nickname for a reason, but they would that's not them. So Toll Brothers, I had a great experience. Dream Finders is the stereotypical mass produced builder, um, of of medium. I would give them a B minus in quality. That's my
yeah.
personal experience.
Well, and I love it's that over and above. So like, and I'll throw shout outs as well, like impact enclosures. If people ask me about screening, I always go to
Right.
them. I have no idea if they're the cheapest, most expensive, middle,
Yes.
whatever. But back in Greenleaf Village, we had them enclose our lanai. And of course, dogs are dumb and used to things sometimes. And first time we open the door, our dog runs out. Brrr!
Right. Yep.
It's the screen,
Bust it.
screen like kind of, I mean, it was super solid, so I don't think, the dog appreciated the
Yeah.
jarring motion. It did, like, put a like, not a hole in the screen, but, like, the screen popped out some.
Yep.
Long story short, we went out that afternoon, and then we came home and, like, the screen was fixed, and we're what like, what is we were just like, "What is happening here?" And they had just come back out to check on the house, make sure the
Oh,
screen
wow.
was good. They saw it was damaged, and they just fixed it,
Yeah.
didn't say anything, and I was like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we just came out, we fixed it." I'm like,
Yeah.
"That right there
Right.
is a sure that anytime someone's looking for, like, a screen lanai, here I am talking about it right now,
Yes.
I send them an impact enclosure."
I love those types of businesses and business owners. I was just talking to a buddy last night, Jason Pratt, whose brothers he used to be
Mm.
with, now his brothers own Pratt guys. And like impact enclosures, that type of mentality, the Pratt guys, the impact, even my businesses, it is well worth it to go above and beyond and to do higher quality level work, even if it costs you a little bit more, because there are indirect streams of revenue that come from that, not directly, but a lot of times indirect. Like I was just telling Jason, like, I've used the Pratt guys who are a local place. I've used their name a lot to talk about yes, they cost more, but their quality of work is superior than a lot of people in the industry that are doing the type of work that they do for backyards, barbecues, pools, all that type of stuff. So yeah, Impact Closures has a very great name. Pratt Guys has a very great name in the area as well.
Yeah, I have a business coach, well, a previous business coach used to say something along the lines of not everything can be measured on an Excel sheet. So,
Right,
like it may not make sense to do some of these things by the
right.
math, like, oh, you're taking up this time and you're spending this money, and there's not necessarily a referral return on investment, but there is something in the gestalt of doing the right thing where
Yes,
business comes back around and you can't directly measure it.
right. Yep, I agree.
Well, I think that's a pretty good segue because I want to talk. You're actually one of those types of guys that does the right thing, business wise. And I actually use one of your businesses here at the house. It took a year. I had to get rid of the current provider, but
Yeah.
finally got you guys in here. And man, it's it's been it's been fantastic. And not to steal your thunder, but Josh owns and runs Pest Hunters, Mosquito Hunters of Jacksonville, St. Johns County, where
Yeah, it's
this
named
whole area, I think. But
so it started off, I had 2 territories, I'm now at 5 territories, so the name at the end isn't as applicable.
okay,
You might as well just say of Jacksonville.
okay. So we had a different pest control company, and they came out. I want to say it was maybe three
Quarterly.
times a year. I don't know if it was even every quarter. And like it was okay, but man, you guys are coming out every month, and that right there is a big difference maker. But I don't want to like go into your whole business because I'd love to hear a little bit about um because you're kind of in my mind the franchise guy, and you know so much about so many franchises and how that business works or those businesses work. I'm just curious, like, why did you decide to go with a franchise first of all, rather than start your own thing?
Yeah, well, it kinda just fell in my lap, and it's funny because when I was talking with Jason Pratt last night, and he was like, "Man, you're really good at business." And I go, it's crazy because I was in the Marine Corps for 24 years and I never saw myself as a business owner. I never thought like I had zero entrepreneurial mindset. But so that like a startup is probably not my lane because of that. But the things it takes to run a business is not much different than the things I was doing while in the military. The drive that I have, the initiative, those things I had already that are necessary in business. And so then I can fall into a system in place that's already doing those things, then I can just take it so much further. Also, in a franchise, the the slope at which you learn is monumentally higher and faster than if you're trying to figure it out on your own, because you have hundreds of minds trying things out with their dollars, with their minds and ABC testing different things, try to figure it out, and you're learning from each other. So you're not losing as much money, or you find out where to use your money wisely, or you're finding out processes and things to do stuff better, systems, stuff like that. So those are all the reasons why. Go. I also want to go back to about the quality thing you talked about, and I love to tell this story. So like when we do our new hire training, I don't train the team anymore. I have a whole staff that runs, but usually I try to give the first intro talk in the beginning of training, and that is where I focus in on is our reputation and the quality. And I like to give the example of, I like to talk about how everyone has cameras nowadays on multiple parts of their homes. You can see a lot of stuff, at least on the front door. And so we teach our guys to do little small things like if you come up and you can tell the trash started taking out recycling, just grab it, the bin, and bring it up to the garage. Um, we were on vacation with some friends, and one of my friends said, "Hey, Robbie just picked up our planter that fell over." He saw it on the camera and was giving a shout out to Robbie. It's the little small things that like the kind gestures that, you know, that go a long way. And so, like, we teach those gestures, teach people to go do small things out of the way. We drop off dog biscuits. If you have a dog, when we're done treating, we put dog little milk bones in a bag with the invoice that we leave behind too. It's little small things like that that um, go a long way.
That's really cool insight because I've always looked at there's cameras everywhere, and so you don't wanna act the fool. You don't wanna do something and get caught being bad. That's the
Right.
negative side of it. But there's a
Yes.
whole positive
Positive.
aspect that too. You get a chance to get caught being good, and especially if
Yes.
people share that video and show like, "Oh, man, look at this
Yes.
guy's taking care of us." That's really good,
Even
insight.
if it's not seen, there's a chance it might be seen. So do it every
Yeah.
time.
Well, yeah, do the right thing, assuming you're not being seen, but then when you are, like, that's a win too.
Right.
I love that. And I have noticed that the people you hire are definitely, um, I don't know, just naturally at a different level or if it's training, but your expectations for your guys are high where they're involved in your marketing process and the sales process. They're involved in a lot of that as well, where a lot of people are just like, I'm the technician, I'm coming out and doing my job. They don't they don't have that full understanding of the whole
Right.
the customer service experience that it takes
You're
to
right.
make you stand apart.
Yeah, and so like we put a lot of time into our guys to teach them. They're really sales and service technicians, what we call them. We label it that way for a reason to know that they're just not technicians. But also, back to your point about like the treatments and stuff. A lot of most people don't know this, but a lot of the major companies, even some regional ones, have been bought up by one of two major investment companies out there. Rent-A-Kill is the main one, and so they have things like Truly Nolan and all these other stuff, and even um, uh, Turner. Turner's not owned by Turner anymore. So, like, if I was to ask anybody, what do you think happens when a large investment company takes up a smaller company? Well, everything that you think happens. Employees, like all the investment companies care about the Excel spreadsheets, right? And so, if the profit margins aren't there, how can we squeeze the profit margins? Lesser quality products, less often, but still charging the same amount. Lower pay for the employees, which means higher rotation, less happiness. We don't have those issues. We can never be bought out by a large investment company because we are like my business cannot because it's a franchise. And so um because of that, like we don't look to squeeze it. We look to do what's right. This is North Florida. It's how many times has it rained, Austin, this last week?
I mean, today I think it already rained this morning once, but it rains literally every day.
Exactly. And so what does rain do? Rain produces breeding habits for mosquitoes. Rain pushes insects inside for pest control for your home. Rain supplies the water that they need to be able to live off of. And they need food, shelter, water just like we do. And so that rain is helping it. And when you only come out 3 or 4 times a year, you can't effectively control it. And not enough to offer a happiness promise where you'll come back out for free and retreat it no matter what. So um we can do that because we treat monthly. That's really the big difference.
Nice. And you're using, and I only know this because we chat a lot about business stuff, but, use like a stronger, different concentration of,
Yeah,
um
it's a pyrethroid, a synthetic derivative of the chrysanthemum flower. So we use a better quality one. Phenthrin is the one that everyone will try to use. It's been around for a long time. It degrades in temperatures above 80 degrees. This is Northeast Florida, and so you can't get away with that, but they do, and so that's why it's not as effective. And also, some of them, like I take all of my guys whenever there's like CEU training. I take all my guys, even though they're not required because they don't have the operator license. I bring them all because their knowledge is important, and so they know that you can't kill spiders with spray liquid for the most part. You have to use a dust that they can absorb and step on. And
Interesting.
if you're getting your house treated and they're not dusting for dust, not just the sweep of knocking down cobwebs. If they're not applying like Delta dust and stuff on it, it's not going to kill the spiders. You're just going to knock the spider web down.
Interesting. That's interesting. Cool. Um, Pest hunter, mosquito hunters, do you wanna just say for a minute, like, I love watching you scale up to that from you guys were like a mosquito focus company for a little bit,
Right.
and you took that expertise and then brought in, all the other expertise as well, and I love that you have, like, the whole package on that.
Yeah. The brand started, I want to say in like 2012 in Chicago, and it started franchising a couple years later, and it was just mosquitoes. Then obviously when I came on in 2019, it was mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas.
Mm,
And then there's guys like me and a few others that have just brought and helped the franchise go further. So I started doing no CMs. As a matter of fact, I still think I'm one of the only ones in Jacksonville area that that offers a no CM control that can back it up. Because they're a very difficult insect to get under control. But we found the right combination mix that safely and effectively handles them. But then there's also we started doing pest control a couple years ago. And so the problem with doing pest control is we had to rebrand. We couldn't just stay mosquito hunters. Like, who's going to take me seriously? Even though we know it, we know how to do it well. We constantly are in training, constantly, in both training within the franchise as well as training outside the franchise and in the state of Florida and everything with FPMA and constantly learning and evolving. Nobody's gonna take you seriously if your name is just they're gonna think you're mosquitoes all you know. So recently, this year around March, we rebranded to be the logo used to say mosquito on the top, whereas on the bottom now it's pest hunters, mosquito hunters. And I see the logo. I see us rebranding in a few more years to just be pest hunters, to be honest with you. Matter of fact, that's what I call it. I just call us pest hunters now.
alright, good to
Just
know. I know
might as
I
well
I
just get
love,
to where we're going.
and probably the best part of your company's, is it Gunther?
Gunther.
Gunther,
If you're
Gunther,
German, Gunther. Yeah, the
Gunther. No, that's
mascot.
my last name is pretty German, so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I remember, seeing him a lot out on the side of the road. I don't know if I've seen him as much lately. Is he still out, waving to people?
Yeah, we kind of took a different approach this year with we wanted to try different marketing tactics.
Mm,
So instead of the tech those Gunther heads they're like $1,500 each. And I had one for each van. So I think
wow.
I currently have four heads right now. And so what we had was the technicians were required to do 1.5 to 2 hours a day in it, whenever they chose. Most of them chose in the morning. That's why sometimes it'd be very awkward. You'd be rolling up Nocatee Parkway and you've seen this huge head and someone waving by the van, and the fog, and it's him. But I tell you, it's absolutely very memorable. It was very, very, very important to do those things and other things like that to have brand recognition the first few years. And then once you start to have it, you don't have to do it as much. But I think I want to get back to it some more next year.
Good. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anything else people should know about pest hunters here in St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Northeast Florida? How do they get a hold of you? How do they get,
Yeah,
quotes on your service, all that kind of stuff?
great question. Well, Most people don't know that we do everything except for fumigation and termites, and I will tell you we're in the process of trying to not figure out how to do termites, but figure out how to offer it as a service, like to get into that industry. We know how to treat for termites and everything, both prevention, inspection, and remediation. But fumigation, I don't think we'll ever get into that lane. But termites really is where we need to get to next. Other than that, we do pest control for your home, commercial places. We have plenty of commercial daycares, restaurants, churches, things like that we do. A lot of residential homes like yours, mine, a lot of other people inside and outside. We treat monthly. We also, obviously, we treat for mosquitoes, we treat for no-see-ums, we treat for fleas, we treat for ticks, and those are all different treatments. They use different products, different cycles of how often we treat based off the life cycle of the insects and stuff. We also do fire ants. We have fire ant control as well, to one treatment per year. And lastly, we treat for flies. So like your common black house flies, especially if you're in a new construction area and there's a dumpster nearby, man, it's been pretty bad for some residents in Beacon Lake until recently. Now we don't have it anymore. But
It's because all the residents are throwing their household trash in
yeah,
there too, so.
exactly. Raise your hand if you've ever thrown stuff into a dumpster in Beacon Lake.
I'm not raising my I would never do anything like that. That's awful.
Yeah. So yeah, we do all that stuff. And so if you want to get a hold of us, our local number is 904-800-1585. And you'll probably get in touch with Andy, our office manager. You can also go to our website, mosquitohunters.com, put in your zip code, it'll patch you through to us, on our webpage and everything. And you can find out more about us that way. Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
great, and
it's
again,
funny. It still says mosquitohunters.com, but that's going to change soon too. That all has to do with SEO stuff. You can't make too many abrupt changes without losing your SEO ranking and stuff. So we'll see. But all the vehicles are rebranded now.
mm,
All the print stuff is rebranded and everything.
that's great. Well, and again, I switched to them. I'm very happy with them. I leave reviews. I update my reviews from time to time, as you've reminded me. Updating Google reviews is important. But before we wrap up, I always have to ask people, what's the best pizza around here?
Mm, there's two.
Okay.
Primos and Serafina's. I lived in New York. Some people, some people will go into Primos, and the father, son, the mom, they're from Staten Island, and they're from New York, so they talk a certain way, they act a certain way. So for some people, it like rubs them wrong. Doesn't rub me wrong. I've lived in New York, so I know I can meet them at their level. But I will tell you, if you're just looking at pizza, Serafina's off Racetrack Road or Primo's on US 1 are, in my opinion, the top two places around here.
Done a lot of these interviews, and I think Serafina has come up on every single one
Yeah,
so far.
may
And
have to do with the fact that Serafina's is in a place that is way more established, like Racetrack Road and where they are.
yeah,
Julington Creek, Durban is way more established.
yeah, we'll run up there and do pick up on Serafina from time to time. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
right.
Awesome. Well, Josh, appreciate it. Again, mosquitohunters.com, and look forward to continuing to see you around the hood.
Yeah, no, thanks, Austin. Thanks for taking the time to do this.